Am I the asshole for storming off from my sister's wedding after she dead named my son? I'm a 45-year-old single father of 3. Their mom died 10 years ago. I have 3 sons, 17-year-old Andrew, 15-year-old Connor and 14-year-old Maximum. Connor was born female. He is trans. He came out as trans 5 years ago and has now socially transitioned, not yet physically. My sister, 38F, just got married. Me and my sons were also invited. My family has known that Connor is trans for 2 years now. Some have adjusted well, some not so much. My sister is pretty indifferent about it. Her wedding was really super well organized to the last detail. She wanted all the men to wear shirt plus tie and then women's sundresses. I texted her a picture of our outfits the day before the wedding and she said, "Where's Na's dress?" I was a bit surprised and told her not to dead name my son and that he'll be wearing a shirt and tie like the rest of men there or we aren't coming. She said fine and that was it. At the reception, my sister got mad that Connor was wearing a tie but didn't say much after that. When we sat down at our table, the card Naya, I went to my sister and she said she used their real name. I told her me and the boys are leaving and she told me, "Don't you dare cause a scene at my wedding. Naya can be a guy any other day." I called her a bigot and we left. My family says I ruined her wedding. Not the asshole. I don't quite understand all this transitioning stuff, but it looks to me like you respect your child and you demanded that your sister respect him also, and she didn't. If anyone created a scene, it was her by putting Naya on the name card. You did the right thing. Bridezilla ruined our friendship of 20 plus years. Long post. Right, so best friend of many years got engaged, immediately asked me to be bridesmaid. Was thrilled for about 0.2 seconds until she said, "Ha. Now I get to make you dress girly." Her list of requirements included dress, heels. I had to grow my hair to at least bob length. I had to dye my hair. I had to get a tan, fake or sunbed, and I definitely had to use body makeup to cover all my tattoos. Now readers, this was a gut wrencher. Anyone who knows me knows I'm an absolute tomboy who feels deeply uncomfortable wearing dresses, etc. But hey, it's the bride's big day, right? I offered to do all except grow my hair. Not good enough. Apparently I would ruin her photos with my crap short hair. Arguments started. Texts and group chats aplenty telling me I was being stubborn and it's for one day and I should suck it up. Back and forth for a while, but around that time, my dad was diagnosed with a terminal illness. We mutually agreed my dad was my priority and I stepped down from bridesmaid to guest. She asked me what me and my girlfriend would be wearing. I replied that we had tailor-made suits from a wedding last year and they would be perfect. She told me she didn't want everyone staring at the 2 lesbians in suits and that everyone would be talking about us and taking attention away from her. People, I was gobsmacked. GF refused to even go. I told bride, unless she was telling all the guests what to wear she could fuck right off. I went to the wedding, didn't want to be the arsehole who didn't show up tbh. It went swimmingly. An absolutely grand affair with no expense spared. I left after the first dance to get home to my kid. Had been there for 8 hours at this point and was told the next day that at the end of the party the bride was sobbing that I left early and ruined her day. She also texted me to tell me the money I had gifted her was nowhere near the cost of hosting me. So we don't talk anymore. Update, I'm getting married. My fiancé proposed last week. We are both gonna wear suits and Bridezilla ain't invited. She sounds like a horrible human. Good riddance. You don't need that drama in your life. This hurts my heart. My sister is also a tomboy and a lesbian and I'd be the biggest asshole in the world to ask her to change just for my day. In fact, I want her to be herself completely and have the greatest day ever at my wedding. She will be standing beside me as my matron of honor in a badass tailored suit and she'll look incredible. For her not to want her guests to see to lesbians in suits, I'm just in shock. I'd tell a guest to go fuck themselves in defense of my sister. If only your friend took the same stance and realized you're a beautiful person just as you are. You're better off without her. Ridiculous Bridezilla. Asking you to change who you are for her big day. And when did it become a requirement that your gift pay for the cost of hosting you? This drives me crazy. If you want a ridiculously expensive blowout wedding party, that's on you, not your guests. What's next? Selling tickets to weddings? Stepmom destroys my fiancé's dead cousin's wedding dress, thinking it was mine. A little background. My fiancé's cousin passed away in an accident on her honeymoon around 6 years ago. Her husband couldn't stand being around wedding gifts, decor, mementos, etc. so everything wedding related was split between family members. My fiancée was very close to her cousin and was her MOH, so got her wedding dress. It sat in our closet. My fiancé sometimes took it out to look at, but has never planned on wearing it. My fiancé's cousin was a similar shape and size to me, and the dress has been kept pristine, so it wouldn't be too big of a leap to assume the dress was mine. We fell out with my dad and stepmom over multiple manipulations, including taking money from my grandparents, who thought it was going to my hospital bills. This falling out led to them being evicted by my grandfather after years of living rent-free. We've been getting a barrage of online abuse since this, but since they're halfway across the world, we didn't think it would spill over into the real world. My stepmom flew over to talk it out in person. Unfortunately, we were on a date when she got there, and the only person in was my college friend who is crashing on our couch. She opened the door and stepmom pushed past, yelling and throwing a fit. She shut herself in our room and threw stuff around. Nothing was damaged beyond repair until she raided the closet and found the dress. She had barricaded the door, and by the time we got home to deal with the situation, she was screaming something about how I can't get married without a dress. We didn't think about the dress in the closet in the moment and wondered what she was talking about, as I don't have my dress yet. We called the police, and when they took her away, we finally realized what she was talking about. Fiancé's cousin's dress is in shreds. My fiancée is devastated, and her family are upset too. None of them blame me, but I feel like it's my fault for bringing my stepmom into their lives. I'm trying to help my fiancé through this and the grief it's brought up, as well as putting in precautions to protect ourselves and our home. My stepmom is still being detained, so my dad is creating multiple accounts to harass us. My fiancée is saying that she's actually glad I wasn't home when stepmom got there, because she might have tried to hurt me, but the loss of something so sentimental is really hitting her hard. Diet Coke ladies. Worked at a fast food chain when I was in high school. Many stories to be had about the work, but the only one really worth mentioning is a happy one. One of our recurring customers was the Diet Coke ladies. Every afternoon, they would come through the drive-thru and order 2 medium Diet Cokes. It was 2 old ladies with their dogs in the back of their little RAV4. Always nice, always wanting only 2 medium Diet Cokes. Occasionally, if things were super slow, we'd have a little chat as they paid only a minute or two, and they would drive up to the second window for their drinks. Everyone in the store knew them, and you just had to shout Diet Coke ladies are here, and the person up front would get the drinks ready. As I was getting ready to go to college in a couple weeks, I happened to mention it to them. They were glad for me and wished me well. 2 days later, they came through the drive-thru per usual, but when they paid, they also handed me a little box wrapped with a little silk ribbon. Inside was a silver pen, and engraved on the side was 2 medium Diet Cokes. They told me they wanted me to pass my first test with it. Please tell me you still have that pen. I kept it for many years, and I passed my first test, and many others, with it. Unfortunately, over the next 20 years, it got lost in one of my many moves. Made a grown man cry today. So I work at a pet store. My family owns it. We do boarding, daycare, training, grooming and retail. I had a regular come in a few months back. He wasn't doing too well financial since becoming disabled. He brought in his dog for grooming, and I noticed he had large amount of fleas. I called and informed him. I'll let him know that I would give his other dog a flea bath for cheap so he could take care of it. Once he got there, he tried to pay with a care credit card that the state had given him. Unfortunately, we don't take that card. So he gave me his card information so I could charge him when he got paid. I sent with him with some flea and tick topical we sell over the counter. Well, the day came for me to run his card. He called me to remind me. I thanked him, got off the phone, and didn't charge him. Today he called realizing he hadn't been charged. I told him I didn't plan on charging him and was happy to be able to help. He couldn't talk for a bit, trying to compose himself. I got off the phone knowing I had made someone's day better. I know how hard it can be living on disability. My mom is on it. Sometimes even the littlest of things can help. You win. Thank you for being a decent human. And bonus to him for doing his part to make sure the store got paid. Kind customer tells you that you forgot to charge him instead of just taking advantage of the error. Kind clerk informs him it's not an error. Warm fuzzy feelings all around.